Hey Book Dragons, I'm so glad you're here. It's time for a random Chazzy update. We're going to talk about all the things that I have been up to, traveling, reading-wise, all the good stuff. So if you're excited for that, grab some snacks and drinks if you need them. I've got my trusty little mug of tea here that I will be sipping on throughout this video. And I'll take a drink of that now while you go get yours. And if you are ready, I am ready. So this video will be broken up into sections with timestamps in the description below. So if you're bored by something I'm talking about and you want to skip ahead to the next category, you can easily do that. The first thing I want to talk about is traveling. My partner and I just got back from a trip to Washington State. We were up there to do our official house shopping. So that was really exciting. We looked at, 11, 12 different homes while we were there. And we did find one that we really like, and we're putting an offer on that house. And we do have a backup as well, just in case something does not happen with that. But we're pretty sure that this one is going to go through. And of course, it's kind of up in the air because it is contingent on the sale of my partner's house here in Arizona. So lots of stuff up in the air, but it's exciting. And, being up there again just reinforced the fact that we want to live there and we love the area. I just saw something on the internet the other day. I think it was on Instagram, that the town we're moving to is about to get their very first cat cafe. So I'm super excited about that. That's just another sign, right? It's another indication that it's time for us to move there. So we're very excited about the move. The Airbnb was not ideal. There were a lot of issues, not the least of which is something that we were allergic to in the house that has turned in, once we got home, turned into a sinus infection. So that's why I sound the way I do. If you notice that I'm sounding a little froggy, that is why. But I'm recovering. I'm getting out of the woods. But yeah, that's the risk you take with Airbnbs, right? Sometimes they're great, and sometimes they're not. So this one was mostly okay, but not great. So yeah, we had a really good trip to Washington, though. Went to a few cool places to eat. Went and did some book shopping, which I'll talk about later. And we're just very happy with the choice we made to move to Washington State. And that's still not happening until this summer. So we've got a few months. So that was our Washington trip. My job situation, I don't know how much I've talked about that on YouTube, but I mentioned it to a few people. Up until this point, I have been doing customer support via chat for my company. It's insurance related work and home insurance, that kind of thing. And I was doing that on chat. Through various things that happened, I am no longer doing that particular job for the company. I'm still with the company, but I'm kind of in limbo. I don't exactly know what I'm doing at this point. They don't either, which is concerning. And this is something I was hoping to be able to transfer with me when I moved to Washington, especially being that, we're getting a house there and everything. That's kind of crucial. And my company has a rule where if you are not living within a certain radius of a hub city, which Washington State has no hub cities, then you have to either not work for the company anymore, or they have to make an exception for me to be able to move. I'm moving regardless. We'll just put that out there. So it's going to be up to them whether they still want me with the company or if I have to find something else after I move. But I'm hoping at the very least I can take it with me to Washington and then get settled. And then if I have to leave the company, I have to leave the company. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But I have been looking at lots of other opportunities for jobs and, considering other avenues for work, like voiceover work. And, I've been told in the past that I have a good reading voice, so maybe I'll do audiobooks. My reading voice isn't the best right now, as you can tell, but most of the time it is. So I'm looking at other options for work, but it's taking a while. The job market's not great, and it's not ideal to get a brand new job when you're trying to buy a house. So lots of things are happening there, but I'm optimistic. I think it will work out good. I don't know. No one knows what the future holds, but I'm trying to be optimistic. So we'll move on from the job situation into something that is not intentional. This is not an intentional transition. But I do need to talk about Patreon because I'm making some changes on Patreon for people who want to support me on Patreon. This is not a plug for you to support me on Patreon talking about the job situation. I just want to make that very clear. There is no expectation there. But if you've ever been curious about what it looks like to support me on Patreon, you can check out my Patreon. The link is in the description below. And I do have different tiers with different offerings, so you can check that out. But let's talk first about some changes to Patreon that I am making or that the company has made as well. So the first thing on that is my Patreon newsletter. And this is completely open to the public. Anybody can go to my Patreon page and read the newsletter. It's free. You might have to click to subscribe as a free member, but it doesn't cost you anything. You can read my newsletter there. I only put out the first issue the beginning of April, so it's brand new. And that newsletter talks a lot about some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about here. But in the future, if you're subscribed to that newsletter, you'll be able to get updates before I make them in a video like this kind of thing. So that's new. And the reason I decided to do it on Patreon instead of another platform is something we're going to talk about now, actually. And that is the fact that Patreon has added a feature where you can set up your own domain name. So if I wanted to do bookischaz.com, which I'm not going to do, but if I wanted to do that particular domain name, I could do that and it would bring you to my Patreon. It would have my website address on it. So that's a really cool feature, and that got me to thinking that everything that I would want to do as far as communicating with people or having a website is available to me on Patreon, and it is open to the public. They just made some changes that make it even more public in a sense. They have a feature called Quips where you can do like public social media posts and get seen by everybody that's on Patreon, that kind of thing. I don't know that I'll use that much, but it's an interesting feature. But, I can sell my books on there, which I currently do on my Beacons page, my Linktree type page. So I can sell my books there if I want to, and I can do the newsletter, and all of that can be accessed for free without subscribing to a paid tier on Patreon, although you can do a paid tier if you want to, that kind of thing. So I think I am going to be purchasing a domain name and setting up a redirect with that domain name on Patreon. That will be kind of my main web hub. That way, if people want to access me, they can have full access to me on that page, and whether it's for free or paid options. And again, options, they're optional. Please don't feel obligated because it's not absolutely necessary. On that note, I am thinking about switching over all of my creative pursuits to my Patreon page if I decide to do the domain name and make that my main hub. And it's not much, but it's my writing, and I do some art on occasion as well. I'm a newbie artist at best, but I do some art. So I might talk about those kind of things on there as well. That's still something I'm ruminating on, but if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below that's something you'd like to see from me as well, other than just my videos. But the domain name that I'm thinking about is more tied to all of my creative pursuits as opposed to just the book stuff. Although, my writing is book related as well. So that's something there. So that is the major changes to Patreon. I also added a new tier. I added the Wormling tier, which is just $1 a month. Very easy to get in the door on that one if you're just wanting to contribute that little bit every month, you can. So I added the Wormling tier. Currently I have Wyverns, Fire Drakes, and Balerian's Brood as the other tiers. So the Wormling tier is just your very, very basic tier. So I thought that would be fun, and I updated it with some new cover art for the different tiers. And then I am considering doing a Patreon book club. So that's a new perk that I've been thinking about offering. I would love to know from you in the comments if that's something that holds any interest. If you're one of my patrons watching this, definitely let me know. But also anyone else, let me know if that is something you're interested in becoming a part of. So we do like a quarterly book club or maybe even a monthly book club, who knows. And I do have a private Discord for my Patreon, and that's where that book club discussion would most likely happen. So let me know if that's something that you think is cool, you've seen other people do it and you like that, you think it's a nice idea. Let me know in the comments below. One thing that I am going to be potentially doing on Patreon as well, especially if I open it up to all of my creative endeavors, there is a serial microfiction fantasy story that I have been working on in my head for a long time. I put it down in some notes as well, and that would be like a monthly perk for all patrons to be able to access my serial novella, whatever it comes out to be. But that will be announced in the future. It's something I'm working on, thinking about, hasn't happened yet. But that would also be a way for me to have some motivation to write again, because I've been in a serious writing slump. And so, yeah, I think that would be good for me, and I think people might enjoy it. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. And that is something that would be behind a paywall for patrons only. And then eventually, if I get enough of those microfiction chapters, I would probably compile it into a book for public distribution. But I don't know what that's going to look like yet. We shall see. But if that's something you're interested in, again, let me know. And I think that is all for the Patreon. So if you have stuck around to hear all about the upcoming Patreon stuff, I appreciate you, and I am surprised you did, but thank you. And then one other project that I want to talk about is the Kickstarter. I had talked about doing a Kickstarter for special editions of my first two books, Talendor's Guest and The Nomad's Crucible. And I had talked about that in my last random Chazzy update, and I have decided not to do that this year. I realized with the move and everything going on, that would not be the wisest idea to try and be promoting a Kickstarter. So that will happen next year, but I am still planning to do it. And one thing I do want to still do this year, if I get the time, is to record the audiobook for Talendor's Guest. That's been a project that I have been putting off way too long. And so I really need to get on that and do the audiobook. So you heard it here. That's still going to be happening if I get a chance. And now it is tea time. Do you have a drink you can have with me? There we go. All right. So that's the Kickstarter. Now let's get to books. We're going to talk all about books from here on out. And we're going to start with a book haul. So when we were in Vancouver, Washington, actually, we went to a bookstore that we had found the last time we went there, which is called White Oak Books. It's a small independent bookstore, really awesome. And when I was there the first time, I got a book that was a staff pick called The Full Moon Coffee Shop. And it looked really fun, really cozy, had cats in it. And it was a really great book. I read it recently. And so while I was there, I picked up the sequel, and I actually started reading it as well. So that is Best Wishes from the Full Moon Coffee Shop. So I'm really enjoying this one so far. And it's just as good as the first one. And the third book comes out in August, I think. So this is by Maya Mochizuki. And I'm really having a blast with it so far. But yes, I picked that up. And then I also picked up a new book by Evelyn Clark. And the reason I talked about it like it's somebody you should know is because you should. This is a co-author pen name comprising V.E. Schwab and, let me see here if I can, V.E. Schwab and Kat Clark. So you're probably familiar with V.E. Schwab. I'd never heard of Kat Clark, but they got together and they wrote a mystery novel, a mystery thriller. So I'm excited. I've been excited about this ever since I heard about it, and they had it at White Oak Books, so I picked it up, and I'm so happy I did. I don't know if I'll get to it before I move, but I'm glad I have a copy of it. So that is my book haul. And now let's talk about the books I am currently reading, which I already talked about. Best Wishes from the Full Moon Coffee Shop. I'm currently reading that. I am also reading Fool's Quest by Robin Hobb. I'm still a very short way into the book. I haven't gotten too far. I've been buddy reading this with Danielle over at Bookcara and another friend of ours named Leanna. So we've been working on this together, and so far it is so good. Robin Hobb just continues to amaze me all the time. And then I'm also reading, although I haven't read it in a little bit here, Hannibal by Thomas Harris, the third Hannibal Lecter book. And I'm really enjoying that so far, but I haven't picked it up in several days, but it's here. And then I did pick up Persepolis Rising again. That's book 7 in The Expanse by James S.A. Corey. It had been a long time since I'd picked up that book, and I decided, since I was on the plane and it was easier just to read my Kobo on the plane, I decided to read more in Persepolis Rising, and I'm really glad I did. I'm probably going to finish it soon. I was already halfway through the book, so I'm not sure why I put it down. I just wasn't feeling it at the time. And surprisingly, I was able to pick up pretty much right where I left off. I remembered what happened. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm also reading A Song for Our Bond by Guy Gavriel Kay. And this is a buddy read with Jessica over at Jessica's Library Card. And I'm really enjoying doing the buddy read with her. So that's where I'm at with reading. And I think that is all I have to talk about today. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Give me your feedback, your thoughts, your aspirations, your criticisms, whatever you want to give me in the comments below. Just make sure if there are criticisms that you keep them kind. I love constructive criticism, but, again, keep it kind. But no, I'd love to hear from you about all the things I talked about in this very random update. And let me know what you're reading as well, or any new books that you have purchased recently. That would be awesome. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Make sure that you are reading more books. And if you want to watch more of my content, here's some ideas on the end screen. Take care.